Upbeat, playful music starts and fades into the background. Hey there, fellow cat servants. Let's paint a picture, shall we? It's 3 a.m. You're sound asleep. Suddenly, you hear a crash from the kitchen. You run in to find your precious fur demon Mittens, standing proudly on the counter next to a shattered glass, looking at you like you're the one who's interrupting. You reach under the sink, grab that trusty spray bottle, and give a quick spritz. Mittens bolts. Problem solved, right? Wrong. So wrong. You think you're teaching a lesson, but what you're really teaching your cat might be destroying your relationship. Today, we're exposing the truth about the spray bottle. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Before we dive in, tell me the name of your fluffy little chaos agent in the comments below. First, let's get one thing straight. Your cat is not a tiny, furry person in a catsuit. It's a tiny, furry apex predator that you've tricked into living in your house with the promise of food and warm laundry. Their brains are hardwired with instincts from thousands of years of being solitary hunters. They need to climb high to survey their territory. They need to scratch to maintain their weapons. They need to randomly sprint across the house at the speed of sound for, reasons. They aren't trying to annoy you when they do these things. They're just being cats. Understanding this is the first step. They're not breaking your rules. They're following their own ancient, mysterious, and often inconvenient ones. And trying to correct those ancient rules with a blast of water is like trying to stop a hurricane with a garden hose. So let's start with the crime scene itself. Picture your cat, a majestic creature of pure elegance, making a perfect leap onto the kitchen counter. In their mind, they've just summited Mount Everest. They've found a fantastic vantage point to observe their kingdom. But in your mind, it's a hygiene violation of the highest order. That's where they put their little litter box feet. So you reach for the bottle, the equalizer, the cat corrector. It's become such a common piece of advice passed down through generations of cat owners. Cat scratching the couch, spray 'em. Cat eating your plants, spray 'em. It feels like a quick, easy and harmless fix. A little spritz of water, and the undesirable behaviour stops instantly. It's the ultimate button for immediate results, and we humans are absolutely addicted to immediate results. But what we see as a simple deterrent is perceived very differently by the furry little weirdo on the receiving end. Why do we even think this works? Well, the logic seems sound on the surface. Action A, cat on counter, leads to consequence B, unpleasant spray of water. Therefore, the cat should learn that action A is a bad idea. It's basic cause and effect. Plus, it feels so much less harsh than yelling, or heaven forbid, physical punishment. It's just water, we tell ourselves. It doesn't actually hurt them. And that part is true. It doesn't physically injure them. But this is where we make our first critical mistake. We are applying human logic to a feline brain. We assume the cat understands our intention, that we are teaching them a rule about a specific location. We see it as a clean, simple disciplinary tool. The cat, however, sees it as a completely random, terrifying attack from the giant who is supposed to be their source of safety, food, and chin scratches. It's a fundamental breakdown in communication. Now for the first major myth to bust into a million pieces. Here it is. Cats do not understand punishment. At least, not in the way we do. When you spray your cat, their brain doesn't create a neat little flowchart that says, jumping on the counter led to getting wet, therefore, I should not jump on the counter to avoid the wetness. That's not how they're wired. Instead, their brain, which is a magnificent machine designed for survival, creates a much simpler and more terrifying connection. It screams, when my giant can-opening servant is present, and I am near this elevated food-smelling place, a horrifying, aversive event occurs. The cat doesn't learn that the counter is bad. It learns that you are unpredictable, scary, and sometimes, for no reason it can comprehend, you become a monster who shoots water at its face. You are the source of the punishment, not the action. Let's really get inside their furry little heads. The actual connection your cat makes is all about association, and it's a terrible one. The negative stimulus, the shocking, unpleasant blast of water, becomes directly associated with your presence. Think about it. The counter is always there. It's a static object, but the spray only happens when you are there to witness the crime. So, what does the cat learn? It learns that being on the counter is perfectly fine, fun, and interesting until you walk into the room. Then, it suddenly becomes a very dangerous place. You are the variable that introduces fear and discomfort into the equation. Instead of being their safe space, you become a walking, talking trigger for anxiety. This is the exact opposite of the bond we all want with our pets. We want to be the bringer of treats and cuddles, not the harbinger of random facial assaults. This leads us directly to the concept of trust. The bond you have with your cat is built on a foundation of trust and predictability. They need to know that you are a safe and reliable resource. You provide food, clean water, a safe place to sleep, and affection, on their terms of course. Every time you use a spray bottle, you're taking a little hammer and chipping away at that foundation. You are introducing unpredictability and fear. Your cat starts to wonder, what will the giant do next? Sometimes they give me pets. Sometimes they attack me with water. This can lead to a cat that is hesitant to approach you, that flinches when you move too quickly, or that hides when you enter a room. You're no longer just their human. You're a potential threat, and a cat that doesn't trust its owner is an unhappy, stressed-out cat. So what happens to the actual behaviour you were trying to stop? Does the counter-surfing cease? Absolutely not. Welcome to the birth of the sneaky cat syndrome. You haven't taught your cat that the counter is off limits. You've only taught them that the counter is off limits when you are watching. Congratulations, you've just trained your cat to be more intelligent and strategic about its rule breaking. They will wait until you're in the other room. They'll wait until you're asleep. They'll become masters of covert operations, silently leaping onto the forbidden surface to lick the butter dish, and then vanishing without a trace. The only evidence will be the tiny, greasy paw prints they leave behind. So not only does the spray bottle fail to solve the problem, it actually creates a more frustrating, harder to manage version of the same problem. You've created a furry little ninja of disobedience. Let's talk about the invisible damage, anxiety and stress. Cats are creatures of habit and control. They thrive in a predictable environment where they understand the rules. When you introduce a punishment like the spray bottle, which they perceive as random and terrifying, you inject a huge amount of stress into their world. This isn't just a fleeting moment of being startled. It can lead to a state of chronic anxiety. An anxious cat is constantly on edge, waiting for the next bad thing to happen. This elevated stress level, caused by cortisol flooding their system, is not only bad for their mental well-being, but can also have serious physical consequences. It can weaken their immune system, making them more susceptible to illness. It's a heavy price to pay for keeping them off the bookshelf, don't you think? And where does all that stress and anxiety go? It has to come out somewhere, and usually it manifests in even more unwanted behaviours. This is where cat owners get trapped in a frustrating cycle. The stress from the spray bottle can lead to a whole new menu of problems. You might see compulsive behaviours like over-grooming, where a cat licks themselves bald in certain spots. They might become more withdrawn and hide all the time. Or, and this is the big one that sends owners to the breaking point, it can lead to inappropriate elimination. That's right. A stressed-out cat might start peeing on your rug, your bed, or in your laundry basket. It's not an act of revenge, it's a desperate sign of distress. And often, owners will then try to correct this new behaviour with even more punishment, creating a vicious spiral of anxiety. But wait, some people might argue, isn't the whole point to be a deterrent? To make the cat associate something bad with the action? Yes, but the key is who or what the cat associates the bad thing with. A successful deterrent is environmental, not personal. A punishment, like the spray bottle, is personal. It comes from you. An environmental deterrent is something that makes the area itself unpleasant, with no connection to you whatsoever. For example, if the counter itself was always sticky or made a weird noise when the cat jumped on it, the cat would learn. This surface is unpleasant. and would avoid it on their own. They wouldn't learn to fear you. The goal is to make the cat decide, of its own free will, that getting on the counter just isn't worth it, rather than making them fear getting caught by you. The problem of negative association can also spiral out of control. A cat's brain isn't surgical about its connections. Let's say you spray your cat for being on the counter, but their food and water bowls are also in the kitchen. Your cat might not just associate the spray with you, or even just the counter. They might generalize the fear to the entire room. Suddenly, the kitchen becomes the scary water monster room. They may become hesitant to eat or drink because they feel unsafe in that area. Or maybe you sprayed them for scratching the arm of the sofa, but you were sitting right next to it. Now, they might be afraid of sitting near you on the sofa. You were trying to solve one small problem, and you accidentally created a much larger, more complex web of fear and avoidance. And let's be honest, why do cats hate water so much in the first place? It's not just a random quirk. Most domestic cat breeds are descended from desert-dwelling felines, like the African wildcat. Water was not a big part of their evolutionary history, and certainly not something that fell from the sky or shot them in the face. Their coats are also not designed for it. They get waterlogged and heavy very easily, which makes them cold and slow, a dangerous state for a small predator. So when you spray them, you're not just giving them a little shower. You are triggering a deep instinctual aversion. It's a sensory assault that feels completely unnatural and threatening to them. It's less of a gentle correction and more of an ancestral terror trigger. Not exactly the vibe we're going for in a loving home. So what's actually happening inside that fluffy head from a scientific perspective? It's a classic case of what's called classical conditioning. Remember Pavlov and his dogs? He rang a bell, then gave the dogs food, and soon the dogs started drooling at the sound of the bell alone. The bell became associated with food. The spray bottle works the same way, but for fear. The unconditioned stimulus is the scary spray of water, which causes an unconditioned response of fear and retreat. You, the owner, are the neutral stimulus, but when you're consistently present right before the scary water appears, you are no longer neutral. You become the conditioned stimulus. You become the bell. Soon, just your presence, or a quick movement, can be enough to trigger the conditioned response of fear in your cat. Now let's bust myth number 2. But it works! When I spray my cat, they jump right down. Yes, of course they do. If someone unexpectedly blasted you in the face with a super soaker while you were reading a book, you'd probably jump up and run away too. It is effective as an interrupter. It startles the cat and makes them stop what they're doing in that exact moment. But interruption is not the same as learning. You've stopped the behaviour for about 3 seconds, but you haven't taught the cat anything meaningful or lasting about why they shouldn't do it. It's a temporary fear-based fix that ignores the root cause of the behaviour, and, as we've established, comes with a whole host of negative side effects for your relationship. It's like putting a tiny band-aid on a gaping wound. So if the spray bottle is out, what on earth are you supposed to do? Let's enter the beautiful, magical alternative universe where we use our big human brains for good. The first tool in your new toolkit is redirection. Cats, especially young ones, often do naughty things because they are bored and have pent-up energy. When your cat jumps on the counter, they might not be looking for food. They might be looking for stimulation. So instead of punishing the bad behaviour, redirect that energy toward a good behaviour. Keep a wand toy or a laser pointer handy. The second you see them eyeing up the counter, whip out the toy and start an amazing play session on the floor. You're teaching them, hey, down here on the floor is where the super fun stuff happens, not up there. Welcome to part 2 of our alternative universe, management of the environment. This is where you make the no zone completely unappealing without you having to be the bad guy. Make the counter a place your cat chooses not to be. Cats hate weird textures on their paws. You can try laying down sheets of aluminum foil. Many cats hate the crinkly sound and feel. Or using double-sided sticky tape on the edges of the counter. These are harmless deterrents. The cat will jump up, feel the sticky tape, think you, This is gross and weird, and jump down. The counter itself becomes the deterrent. The best part? It works 24/7, whether you are home or not. You are completely removed from the equation. The counter is the bad guy, and you remain the awesome provider of cuddles. And now for the most important part of the plan, the alternative universe part 3. While you are making the no zone unappealing, you must, and I repeat must, make the yes zone absolutely irresistible. A common reason for countersurfing is a cat's natural instinct to be up high. They want to survey their domain like the tiny kings and queens they are. If you don't provide an acceptable high place, they will find their own. So, invest in a tall, sturdy cat tree. Put it near a window so they can watch cat TV, birds, squirrels. Make it the best spot in the house. Put their favourite blanket on it, sprinkle it with catnip, give them treats and praise every time they use it. You're not just telling them no, you're giving them a much better yes. Let's apply these principles to another classic cat crime, the curtain climber. Your beautiful drapes have become a personal climbing wall for your little adventurer. Your first instinct might be to grab the spray bottle and create a mini rainstorm in your living room. But now you know better. So what do? First, let's analyse the motivation. The cat needs to climb and stretch. It's a deep, primal instinct. So let's manage the environment. You could use a citrus-scented spray on the curtains, as cats generally dislike the smell. Then, the most crucial step, provide a better alternative. Get a tall, sturdy scratching post or cat tree, one they can really sink their claws into and stretch on, and place it right next to the curtains. You are giving them a perfect yes right next to the no. Reward them lavishly whenever they choose the post over the drapes. All of this is part of a beautiful concept called positive reinforcement. It's the gold standard of animal training for a reason. It works and it strengthens your bond instead of breaking it. The core idea is simple. Reward the behaviour you want to see and ignore or redirect the behaviour you don't. When your cat uses the scratching post instead of the couch, say "good kitty" in a happy voice and give them a high-value treat. When they choose to nap on their cat tree instead of the kitchen counter, praise them. You can even get a little clicker to mark the exact moment they do something right. Your cat will quickly learn which behaviours bring them wonderful things like food and attention, and they will start offering those behaviours more and more. You become a slot machine of good things, and they'll be eager to figure out how to win. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Oh no, I've been using a spray bottle for years. Have I ruined my relationship with my cat forever? Please don't panic. The answer is no. Cats can be very forgiving, and bonds can absolutely be rebuilt. The first step is to throw that spray bottle in the recycling bin, for good. Then start focusing on positive interactions. Spend quality time playing with them every single day. Initiate gentle petting sessions when they are relaxed. Offer them special treats from your hand, and learn to speak their language. Give them the slow blink, which is like a cat kiss that says, "I trust you and I am not a threat." Be patient, be consistent, and replace the old fear-based interactions with new positive ones. Your cat will learn to see you as the safe, loving companion you've always wanted to be. So here is the final verdict, cat people. The water spray bottle is an outdated, ineffective, and psychologically damaging tool that has no place in a modern loving home. It operates on a foundation of fear, not respect. It breaks trust, creates anxiety, and fails to solve the root cause of any behavioural issue. It teaches your cat to be afraid of you and to be sneakier about its crimes. Your relationship with that incredible, mysterious, purring creature is far too precious to be damaged for the sake of a clean countertop or an unshredded armchair. By understanding their instincts and using positive methods like redirection and reinforcement, you can solve behavioural problems in a way that actually strengthens your bond and leads to a happier, healthier, and more harmonious home for everyone. So, there you have it. You now know the secret of what's really going on in that furry little brain when the spray bottle comes out. It's not a lesson, it's a betrayal. And even though they drive us crazy sometimes, with the 4 a.m. zoomies, the inexplicable love for empty cardboard boxes, and their uncanny ability to find the one black shirt you own to shed on, we love them more than anything. They are our family. So let's promise to be the best cat parents we can be. Let's choose kindness over fear and understanding over frustration. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more cat-tastic content, and share it with a friend who might still be living in the dark ages of the spray bottle. And for my final question, what is the single weirdest thing your cat does that you wouldn't change for the world? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and give your cat a chin scratch from me.